because I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit. This is important. This is the moneymaker right here. This is a reputation maker too. I see lots of consulting fees in many of your futures just by using this. Now, do you ever hand over the secret sauce to someone? No. Okay. Do you ever lift your skirt up on the first? It depends, right? All right. It depends. What's a bag of groceries weigh? What's his bank account look like? Okay. This is something where I'm going to have AJ and Matt talk about this because they're seeing a lot of the deal flow coming in. AJ's been deal captain now for a while. He's been facing off with our LPs. What's an LP? Limited partner, institutional partners, okay? Matt too. So they're seeing all this. I am going to moderate this. This is going to be more instruction, but it's also going to be a discussion. Okay, and we're going to finish it off with this, I think. What time is it right now? 2:30? 2:40? Oh, good, we have plenty of time. So we're going to do this, then we're going to take a quick 10-minute break, then we're going to get into the last infographic of the day, and that infographic is going to be the distressed asset life cycle. Some of you think you know it, some of you don't. It's sort of like land. Is it entitled or unentitled? It's entitled, okay? That means different things to different people, doesn't it? Right, this is not the land course, that's in your land financier development course. We're going to be talking about this right now. So pull out this infographic in beautiful pastel colors. Isn't this great color infographics? There's a reason why we don't have manuals here. Number one, I'm very OCD. Every time I put something together, it has to be perfect. And then when it's not perfect, I keep changing it. It takes a lot of time. We are going to have a manual for this. It'll be out of, when we finish this at some point, Jack, don't tell me when, don't ask me when, we'll get to it. I know you're going to, you got the manual yet? You got the manual? No. I know, you always hold me to task. We're going to have it transcribed and put into a manual and put into a nice, beautiful Technicolor book for you guys, like everything else that we send to you, so you can refer to it over and over again. Does that make sense? But these infographics are very powerful because people, by nature, are visual learners. Isn't that great? Plus, it saves me a lot of time of having to print 60 copies, and then there's typos. I just don't like doing that type of stuff. So we are going to be talking about right now how to navigate around any speed bumps on your way to closing. AJ and Matt Lish, give them a round of applause. Now I'm going to be circling the room a little bit, so because I can't sit.
All right, am I on? I should be on. Now I'm on. Excellent.
Am I good?
All right.
I'm on.
We're working out the sound bugs. Daniel has that dialed in at the soundboard in the back. He's doing a fantastic job.
It's like a little behind the scenes.
It's like a little behind the scenes. All right, raise your hand if you've seen Matt and I do continuing eds. Okay, raise your hand if you haven't seen Matt and I do continuing eds. All right, you're about to.
Yes.
Right? And this is about how it goes in our office. Isn't that right, Matt?
That's right.
Where Matt reviews it, writes it on the board, I figure out what I'm going to say, or sometimes not, and then we go through it. And that's exactly how this is going to go.
Yep.
All right? So, beyond the five data points, we went through the 5 data points. You all should know exactly what they are. I'm not going to ask you. I'm going to trust that you were paying attention and that you know, and that most of you knew when you came here. Beyond the 5 data points, how to navigate around any speed bumps on your way to closing. So, this is broken up into 6 sections. We're going to start with the first one, which is commercial REO and value added. And we're going to go all the way across. Okay? You ready, Matt?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, here we go. Do you need a copy?
I would like a copy.
Okay, very good. We'll get that for you. Commercial REO and value added, the likely scenario is the bank doesn't have any financial records or is not managing the asset. Okay, so commercial and REO value added is our context. So why don't you define some of that, Matt?
Let me
Go
say,
ahead,
how
Sal.
many people have seen an opportunity, a deal, where you can't get the 5 data points and you're stuck and you're thinking, I
There you
can't
go.
submit this to Sal because he'll freak out, right?
Okay.
So what do we do? What are we going to do? This is what we're going. This is how you value something. This is A lot of people don't understand this. It's amazing how many people will ask for money, but they have no idea how to value something. There's a lot of people who will attempt to raise money, but they have no idea how to do this. Is that correct? You got your copy now, Matt? Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
So what are the likely scenarios? Let's go through it.
All right. So the bank doesn't have any financial records, not managing the asset. The asset could be vacant. All right. So this is an REO. So this is an asset. We're assuming commercial in this context that's on the balance sheet of the bank. Right. They own it. They're not supposed to be in the business of owning real estate, but they do. We hope that they want to get this off their balance sheet. They may not. That's another story. Sal can deal with that later. But you're dealing with something, you're talking with them about it, and you know, the bank isn't a property manager. Would you say that a bank is a bad operator, Sal? I would. Very good.
I'd say when it comes to this, and if you can move this over so we can actually see what we're talking about here, you're going to see commercial REO and value added. These guys, if they have foreclosed on it, they have been through hell. Chances are their sponsor probably threatened or did file bankruptcy, and they've had this asset on their books for a while. It's stale. It is stale as milk, 2-year-old milk. The reason is because they were locked into bankruptcy. You can't touch the sponsor, the borrower, the operator at all, correct? So It's vacant, it's filled with bugs, it's terrible. And now they want to get rid of it. That's how you're going to find these. Very few times, and I want to make sure I'm clear with this, you're going to find commercial REOs. The reason for it is because the bank does not want to step on the toes of the borrower to force his hand to file bankruptcy. Does everybody understand that? Yep. Okay, continue, please.
All right. So the asset could be vacant. Now this is where you're going to have to figure out what the value of this is. So you're going to have difficulty getting, you're getting the 5 data points. But you understand something about context because we've taught you something about context. You know that you know certain parameters about whether, but what the NOI should be, what it could be, shave some off of that, and you have some kind of valuation there. And by listening to Sal, by listening to the scenarios, by looking at the deal reviews, you're going to have an idea that this makes sense. So this is going to be a deal where those are not going to be available. You're just going to have to make the best judgment, okay?
Right.
So what do we do?
We do the price per pound, right? Checking to see what similar assets are trading at, meaning what they have sold for. AJ, is that the same thing as what's listed for?
No, absolutely not.
What's the difference, AJ?
The trades actually happened. Trades
What's
actually
a trade?
happened.
Something that is sold.
Something that is sold.
A trade is where you have a willing buyer and a willing seller come together and make a market on a price. That's either eBay, that's either the used car lot, that's trading Beanie Babies, narcotics, whatever it is, that's a market. Got it? Everybody understand that? Okay. You're going to see people, and this is the truth, what they're going to do is that they are going to send to you LoopNet listings to corroborate the value. I can list anything, a fake property on LoopNet for $10. I mean, what's it worth? If the market's not made, who cares? How many people buy things on eBay? Nobody buys anything on eBay? Nada, what do you buy on eBay? Come across here with a mic. Do we have a mic person? Nada, tell me. Come on, Caitlin, let's go. I know you're sick. Come on. I know. Go ahead, Nada. What do you buy and sell on eBay?
I buy all kinds of things. Dolls.
Dolls.
One doll.
So you
for
know what?
my,
One
for my
doll.
New
Okay.
granddaughter that's going to be born the end of July.
Beautiful. That's great.
But I bought hubcaps. I've bought.
So
a
you know what?
bumper.
Okay. So let's talk bumper. Wow, it sounds like AJ.
Good.
So you
Perfect.
know when you're overpaying for something, right? If somebody has a special doll on there, there's different brands and vintages of dolls, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And you know if somebody asks too much for it, you can tell because that's what the market is paying,
And
correct?
you compare it to the other ones.
Yes, that's what we're going to do here. Everybody understand by the pound, right? Price per pound, yes? All right, great, wonderful. I just want to make sure, this is something where people are, I'm going to let these guys continue. This infographic is very important because this really, even though it's very tight, the roadmap here is important because this is where a lot of people lost their shirts. A market is a market, okay? Anybody says, well, there were 2 foreclosures, does that count? Who says yes? Who says it shouldn't count? That's not fair. Foreclosures is not the market. Who says that? It is the market. If something trades hands, it's part of the market. Whether it's a tax sale, a foreclosure, whatever, it's the market. Does that make sense? So don't take someone telling you that they're discounting this due to the fact that it was just a foreclosure. Does a foreclosure next to you impact the value of your home? It impacts this too. It's not any different in commercial. Did you have a question, Kamir Ashland?
I'll leave him nameless, but there was a guru that took great pride in when he went to sell a commercial property that he would have his minions put 4 or 5 listings on LoopNet of other properties so it appeared to be worth more than it really was, and he thought that this was genius.
Did they fall for it?
I'm sure they did.
Yeah,
Okay.
they did. Of course they did.
I know the brokers did.
All right, enough said.
Wow.
That says a lot.
You know what? I've seen people list properties that are not for sale. They just take a photo of it.
These aren't even his properties.
Yeah. That is what you call a sham. That is a sham. That catches up with you quickly. People like that don't stay around very long. No, I've seen it happen. Well, yeah, that too. Okay.
All
Continue,
right,
AJ.
we have a question.
Yes, over here, Kerry.
Where do you find the market values of these properties?
We'll get to
as
that in a
opposed to
moment. We'll
the
get to that in a moment.
Ask values, if
Yes,
you will.
we'll get to that. Yes.
How about right now? How about how to bid, basis it by?
Oh, look at that.
Look
right
at that.
there, Kerry.
It's absolutely
See, if you
fantastic.
actually read ahead, you would know the answer. So here it is.
All right.
Tell us, AJ.
Treat REOs as a value-added play. What's a value-added play? I don't.
What is a value add? We went through this morning, guys. Something that needs work, correct? A rehab, a fixer-upper in the, a junker in the residential speech, okay?
Something that you can restructure the finance on, something that you can, your sponsor can do a rehab on. There's something there that truly increases the value, right? Not just the fluff that we were talking about earlier, okay? So we're going to use what Sal calls the back of the envelope approach. So we're going to take the lowest CMA. Matt, what does CMA stand for?
Country Music Awards.
That's right. It also stands for comparative market analysis, and I do remember going through this with you, so I did.
Yeah, we did.
Exactly. Take the lowest comparative market analysis and discount it by the dollar amount of repairs, and then discount it by 20%. So when I was talking earlier about we give you the parameters for how to do this without the 5 data points in this unique situation, then this is what we should do, okay? So when you're submitting deals that are REOs, and we see that you haven't used this formula, we know that we have to do it, but we also know that you don't have enough. Enough said.
Okay.
That's good. We have a question over here.
Yes, Mark Rios from
Just-
LA.
Just real quick, source of recent trades, solid comp data, CoStar, LoopNet, comps, not
CoStar, Reese.com.
okay.
You want to find buyers, real buyers? Reese.com.
Write that down.
That's expensive, but you get what you pay for.
RCA?
RCA is good too, yeah. Yeah, I like Reese the best though.
Okay.
We'll get into that tomorrow when we talk about crossing trades.
Excellent.
Okay.
So condoizing is the strategy or key event, and the basis at the buy should be treated as a rental, okay? Now, I've actually looked at a number of deals like this where we've seen this kind of thing. So it starts out as multifamily. Now, somebody submits it to us because they submitted to them and they valued it as a condo after sale. We don't do that, and we don't teach you to do that. We teach you to say, listen, it's not a condo yet. That's right, Dominique, we are talking about you. It's not a condo yet, but it's going to be. However, right now, we have no choice but to value it as that, because that's what capital providers are going to value it at.
Okay. Why are we treating it this way? Why? Because you want to make sure that you're getting in at the lowest basis, correct? Because if anything goes wrong, you can always rent it out. Do condo conversions always go well on time? No, not at all. Right, Dominique?
That is right.
Even in the hot market, the white hot market of DC?
Correct.
Tell us about your sponsor and how he walked away from us.
Yes,
And
Dominique,
screwed
do
you
tell.
out of a deal and then
Do
wanted to
tell.
come back for forgiveness. This is important.
I don't know where to begin.
Well,
Okay.
I'll help you. We brought the deal to the finish line, and somebody had a short fuse. So let's start with that.
Correct. The sponsor, I think when you guys came to the table with him, and you guys asked for 3 more weeks, I think. And
That's right.
And he didn't want to do that, even though.
Right, 3 weeks. He couldn't do 3 more weeks while we structured this whole thing out to give him exactly what he asked for.
Correct.
Do we know why?
We don't know why.
We don't know why, and maybe we don't care. The
Oh, no,
point-
we do care because
right.
he came back after the fact because he sold his soul to the devil. He went with some other local lender, right? And he didn't like working with the lender or the terms, and the lender was totally, in his face the entire day up in his business, right?
That is
And then
correct.
you came back and said, well, he already demolished it. Can we refinance him with a new loan with you guys? And what would we say? Exactly.
And that's not exactly how it went. It was very close, though.
Yeah.
He came back to us on a different deal because he realized that we could have actually done something had he let us. Okay. And then he says, "Hey, I really don't like this structure. Can you help?" So we said, "Okay, well, we like this deal too, but how much skin do you have in the game?
Yeah,
we want to
equity-
see 25% or more. And how much skin did they have in the game, Dominique?
He had 0.
Okay. So what did that do to the deal? Okay. Exactly.
Yep, keep an eye on that one. It's going to go back up into the foreclosure.
And that's what Sal calls putting it on ice.
yeah, put it on ice.
That's
Put it on
exactly
ice.
right.
What happens when you put a beverage on ice? Exactly, the market beats it up a little bit. Okay, continue on, AJ.
All right.
This is perfect.
So this is just a great way to say, use the comparative market analysis cap rates of recent trades to back into a net operating income for a bid at a value added cap rate. Matt and I did this as a continuing ed, and we went through the formula for you. If you
right.
don't know what it is, find it. Okay, make sure that you watch it. We don't have time to go through that formula now, but make sure you understand that. All right.
right.
Okay. What am I missing? Nothing?
Nope. Move on.
Very good. Location. Okay. Now, I find it interesting that location is this far down on the list. I've worked with real estate people personally for a long, long time, and this is before Sal, and all they talk to me about is location, as if that was the most important thing. Well, now I know that's not the most important thing. It's the NOI. Anyway, but we get to this point, we say, is the location desirable or marketable? Because it does matter. We were beaten up on Houston not long ago, okay? But that's because we're teaching you exactly how the capital providers are going to look at this. These are sophisticated financiers, right? They don't buy based on emotion. They know they know the things that we're telling you. If you know the things that we're telling you, then these things are going to get capitalized, okay? So if anyone in here hasn't seen the USA Today weather map, I'm going to shame you right now because it's on Ask Andrew. It's been there for a long, long time. It simply shows you exactly what cities have what importance because there's either a dot or a box or nothing. Go ahead, Sal.
Is there anyone here that has a copy of the USA Today that they can bring in tomorrow, or if they have it right now? We'll get a copy tomorrow. Maybe we'll have one of the guys pick one up. It's just basically, when we're looking at this over, from New York, from Vegas, when we're looking at these deals, there's Class A markets, there's Class B markets, Tier 1, Tier 2. What we're looking for here, and I want to be clear on it, is, okay, we're not going after the Tier 1 markets, but where the opportunities are, is there a dot or a box? And we can explain that tomorrow. Would you like that? We can start the day with that. Only if one of you bring in the paper copy of the USA Today newspaper, because it's only available on the print copy, not the digital copy. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay, great. Continue on.
Excellent. All right. So the desirability of the asset or collateral. Once we've established that it's a location that has been blessed by the USA Today weather map and us, is it a moving company or a storage company? All right. So a moving company means what, Matt?
Means they underwrote the loan planning to move it to another bank.
Exactly.
Sell it
They
off.
had no intention of holding on to that
That's right.
for any duration, right?
That's
So
right.
do you think they had an alignment of interest with the borrower?
They had zero
Okay.
alignment.
All right. Just wanted to throw that out there. Or a storage company. How's that different?
They underwrite the loan planning to hold on to it and take on the interest payment.
That's right. So do you think they have a better a better
yeah.
idea?
Oh, definitely.
They,
Yep.
they
They
have
understand
more
the
of an alignment
risk,
of
they
interest
understand
with the
what they're taking on, for
That's
sure.
right, with the borrower. Sal? For
sure.
How many people have saw that movie, It's a Wonderful Life? Raise your hand. George Bailey Savings and Loan? Every year, right? It's one of my favorites. Is George Bailey a moving company or a storage company? Storage company. Okay.
Beautiful.
Life companies, are they moving companies or storage companies? Storage companies, because they have to pay benefits to the insured. Hard money lenders, most of them no, they're storage companies. And until they get into a pickle, then they become a storage company real quick. There's a lot of these loans with CMBSs, the people who underwrite these CMBS loans, are they moving companies or storage companies? What? Say it loud and proud. Or storage.
They're storage.
Why are they storage? No, they don't. They sell it off. They bundle it and package it, securitize it, and
as
sell it
bonds.
off. Yes. Secondary market. Yes. Okay, go ahead.
All right.
Keep going.
So, I mean, the moving companies that do not have an alignment of interest with the borrower, they just lent on assets that were just marginal and they were going to make fees.
Collect
So,
the fees.
are you surprised when it blows up later? Of course not. So, hard money lenders are famous for overvaluing and lending on raw land that was essentially worthless. Matt, I think we both know somebody who was the director of a fund that was structured around people that found themselves in that situation. I think we both know about this. Yeah, it was called Oasis. Anyway.
Oh,
All right.
gotcha, I gotcha.
Anyway, so is the asset or underlying collateral deemed marketable and in demand? So, all right, so they lent on something that they shouldn't have lent on, or terms they shouldn't have lent on, all right? So is it complete crap? You've now listened to us enough that you know, you have some idea about everything we just went through before. Is it going to make, does the asset have some value that we can structure out of it? Or is it so bad it's not worth your time, move on? It's a really very easy thing, and you can save yourself a lot of time by saying, this isn't it, move on. This isn't it, move on. You really have to do that, okay? So, okay, so is the asset, all right, I think I said that. So are there any other factors to deal with? What other kind of factors can we think of, Matt? Do you remember what we said when we were teaching this?
Not specifics. I think you
Okay.
can look at anything, zoning restrictions.
Okay, that's very good.
Yeah, just anything you can think of that may
there's all kinds of
affect the
things,
value of the deal.
all kinds of things that we talk about, all kinds of things that we teach you that can get in the way of this, right? And this affects the desirability of the collateral, all right? So we talk about this, but really the main one are these two. Then you can dig a little bit deeper. You can ask questions. We can answer these for you. We're going to move on. The quality of the sponsor to the operator. This is very, very important. How many people have heard us talk about bad operators? Right? Okay, good. I was hoping we'd get most hands on that, because we do. So if we have a borrower that had a property and they ran it into the ground and they got foreclosed on, and now the thing is an REO, that's where this is, right? Do you think you want to go back to that bad operator or a bad operator like him?
Not at all.
Of course not, right? So if there's now a new sponsor, are they more qualified to take this thing away from the brink of destruction? Have they done it before? Do they have a track record? That's why when we like the 5 data points that you send over, what's the next question that we always ask about the sponsor? Let me see your bios.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
That works.
exactly. Let me see the bios on this. What is the sponsor's qualifications? So it doesn't hurt before you submit a deal to us or before you consider structuring it for something for your own portfolio if you start there and dig a little bit deeper. It's always very good to go.
Exactly.
If everything up to this point doesn't look good, forget it. It's a waste of time, okay?
Exactly. And I think we've covered a lot of that today.
Yes,
so
definitely.
use everything that you've already learned today and throw it in here, and you should be fine.
Okay. I like this.
With
See, now that's
the quality and
simplification.
sponsor of operator.
That's simplification. All right.
So we just don't want to rehash other things. We want to move through
No,
this.
it really is true. So, how many? Yeah, we've all heard Sal say that that these sponsors, all kinds of people, are guilty until proven innocent. You know, in all kinds of contexts of this, when you are in front of people and you're trying to do a capital raise, you're guilty until proven innocent. You really are. And that's why Sal's cynical at best and paranoid at worst, because he has that perspective. You need to have that perspective too. And when you do, you're going to be able to discern these better, and you're going to be able to find the right ones and move them through the process. Okay? So, is the sponsor local to the asset? That's critical. If somebody's in Los Angeles and the asset is in Houston, and they don't have local management on the asset that they can manage appropriately, how well do you think they're going to manage that?
Not very well.
Not very well. The absentee landlord. Yes, Sal.
You're going to see this. We had one guy submit something. Guy was in Utah. He found a deal in Ohio. And these guys are cavalier enough to think that we're going to pay for them. You know, there is some sort of management fee that they're going to have to be paid to do this, somewhat. You know, there's some, travel and expense. A guy in his 40s with 2 kids, it's just a matter of time before he gets very tired and lethargic of traveling between Salt Lake City to Canton, Ohio. Is there a direct flight from Salt Lake City to Canton, Ohio? No, not at all, okay? Not at all. And the other thing is, it's very expensive. Why do I need to pay you to do this deal? I can find another operator, one of the databases that we use, to do this deal. Does that make sense? Because now all of a sudden you're paying for his meals, his travel, lodging. Doesn't make sense, does it? But it's also a lot of risk too, because if the guy doesn't want to get in an airplane, what happens? He can't rehabilitate the property. Does that make sense? Yes? Would you do that deal? Yeah, 4 weeks, and that guy, you know what happens? Marital problems. His wife says, I don't want you leaving anymore. I've seen it happen. Like, why did you underwrite? We bought a loan from a guy in New York, and I said, why did you underwrite this deal if the person is in one side, 2 time zones away? Well, he was strong, he knew what he was doing. Yeah, but there's the human element. There's a human element of risk that he is not going to be able to complete the job because he's too far away. Everybody, does that make sense? Okay. So don't send anything where the borrower, operator, sponsors in one time zone and the other guy's at 2 time zones away. There's actually deals that you'll see people, and that's happening today, in overseas that want to do that. No. No. You're adding another layer of complexity that is not necessary here. Continue.
Experience of the sponsor is more important than capital in these instances, and I don't think anybody could say it better than that, not even Sal. Dominique, right? It's your turn again. So our capital guys liked the deals that you brought to us, okay? And we shared with you exactly what some of the weak links were. What was one of the weakest links?
Skin in the game.
Skin in the game, but also about something else about the sponsor.
Experience.
Experience. Were they in love with his experience?
Yeah.
No, they were not.
They weren't?
They were not in love with his experience. Okay. Sal?
People were saying before, when we were looking at sponsor versus sponsor equity, if the sponsor is very experienced, that's an excuse for lighter equity. Yes? Okay. That's what that means. We were going to do the deal, but we did it. Instead, we shopped it out to one of my friends who had another firm, because we knew that they were a little more cowboyish, right? Yes.
That's right. That's
And
exactly
that's
right.
What, and they did not like his experience.
They liked the deal.
They liked the deal, but they
that was
didn't
a
like
weak
the
point.
experience.
That was a point of hesitation. And then, quite frankly,
And
remember
he
how
didn't,
we... Go ahead.
And one thing, he didn't really behave in a way of a sponsor that had a lot of experience. And he wound up screwing himself in the end by going with this other guy. He did not manage the deal well. Continue.
Yes. So, and that's exactly right. So just to finish that up, the fact that he had this short fuse at that and couldn't maintain flexibility of that was actually a sign of that inexperience. Because if they were experienced, they would have found a way for that extra 3 weeks. He didn't have that experience, he couldn't do it. See what I mean? Okay, it's just one example. So we have lots of real life examples. Dominique, I just happened to be well placed here so that we could pick on him. All right?
Thank you, Dominique. Being well
Thank you,
placed.
Dominique. All right. We're going to move right on to defaulted note. All right? Defaulted note. So this is not, we're not talking about the property, we're talking about the debt on the property, right? So,
An important distinction also.
This.
well,
Well, let's continue with this, and then we'll do Q&A.
I won't let you go unanswered. All right. So defaulted note. This is before foreclosure has happened. It's not an REO. It's not on the bank's balance sheet as an owned asset as real estate. The note is still on it, but it's defaulted. They're not paying. Right? Sal?
We call that a monetary default. Write that down, monetary default. That's the most severe default.
There's another kind of default.
Technical default.
That's exactly right. Where the
That
term
is
is over with.
the loan coming due, and they're past due on the balloon. Everybody knows what a balloon is, right? Big clown thing. Another word for balloon is bullet, and what that means is that they have to refinance or pay off the loan. Okay?
So the
Technical default.
Exactly. In either case, this is a stage where the lender hasn't foreclosed yet, but either the bank has filed an NOD. Matt, what is an NOD?
A notice of default.
A notice of default. That's exactly right. And you've heard Sal ask the question many times, has legal been filed? This is what he means. This is the legal, the notice of default. It's a very specific thing, and it matters whether it's been filed or not. So either the bank has filed the notice of default, or the bank has filed the notice of default and the borrower has filed bankruptcy, which is bad for the lender. Talk to us, Sal.
Has the bank filed the NOD? There's only two answers. If I ask you, has any legal been filed on this? What do I mean by that? NOD or bankruptcy. Thank you very much. Okay. You're going to see, and we have another infographic, I think, that we're going to talk about tomorrow. A lot of these, this is where things get tricky with the notes. You're going to see that the bank has filed the NOD, or it's been told that they tell someone that they filed the NOD, but they didn't. This is why you need to be direct to the bank. You can pick up a lot of great assets by speaking directly to the lender that holds his paper. All right?
Exactly.
A lot. Lots. Continue. Yes, AJ.
All right. So we're going to move on to the red section, which is how to value the price per pound. All right? Because, again, you're not going to have some of those financial records in this case. Same scenario as the last, same scenario is the REO. So the investment to value should reflect the risk. Use the 5 data points. The current NOI, the current net operating income, not what it was 2 years ago, the current, today, to assess the current value. And if the 5 data points aren't available, use the above price per pound approach. Okay, so investment to value. Whose investment to value? The bank, the bank's investment to value?
Right.
Okay, exactly. Now, what it was valued at when the loan was made, do you think that's the same as the value now? It could be.
It could be.
But it's likely that it's not, and that's a question you have to ask. So the investment to value means the value today, right? So now you look at this, you either look at the unpaid balance or the original investment, which is it, Sal?
Well, let's do a little math here.
All right.
Let's do a little math. If I have a $100,000 home with a $50,000 mortgage on it, if I pay $50,000 for the $50,000 mortgage, what's my investment to value? How much? The house is worth 100,000, Nate. I said that. No, just on this one. Don't make any future prognoses. It's a $100,000 home today, $50,000 mortgage. You're buying that mortgage for $50,000. What is the ITV on that investment to what is your investment to value on that?
50%.
How much? 50%, correct? What if you bought that same mortgage for $25,000? What's your ITV? 25%. Everybody understand that? Perfect. Okay, we're still going to value the property though, based off of the 5 data points, correct? Yes, we are. Perfect. If 5 data points aren't available, we're going to use the price per pound. You're going to find dirty, filthy stuff like this. That's where the opportunity is, people. That's where the opportunity. This is how you're able to determine, this is a note, it's a commercial note. I know an investor. You know what? Hard money lenders, we, third-party financing for notes, we will finance what we call for you to buy the note or one of your sponsors to buy the note at a discount. It's called a collateral assignment. Why are you okay? I thought you were laughing. Okay. No, sorry. It's either called a collateral assignment, sometimes we do an absolute assignment. That's in your asset arbitrage course. Go ahead, AJ, continue.
All right. So how to bid, the basis of the buy.
This
right?
is
So-
important. Listen, how to bid. Nobody
How
knows how
to
to
bid.
bid. Here we go.
Right? Take the unpaid balance, and now we know what that is. It's what the lender still owes the bank on this one, and divide it by the value, today's value. You cannot stress that enough. The lower the number, the better. Exactly, because it's better.
right.
It's better collateralized at that point. Okay. So, if the NOD has been filed, that's good for the note buyer. Risk is borrower can file bankruptcy at any time. BK. It's not Burger King. It's bankruptcy. And it can. Matt and I have taught a whole continuing ed on the risks of before bankruptcy it's been filed and after, and how it changes the value. It's a whole separate infographic. Refer to it if you find yourself in this situation. We have it. Okay? Why don't you read on, Matt, if BK has been filed?
Okay, if BK has been filed, discount bid deeply to reflect long holding time before you realize control and ability to generate value.
What does that mean, Matt?
Discount bid because there's more risk because BK has been filed.
Okay. Here's why. And you saw this on one of the deals that you probably don't remember. Everything has a cost of capital to it, correct? If you're borrowing money to buy an asset, there's a cost of capital to that. So you have to make sure that you discount it enough so that there's enough of a profit in the back end after you work it out through bankruptcy. Everybody clear on that? We're not going to go through, well, we try to go through this. Maybe we'll make this go up a little faster. But the point is that you have to make sure there's a profit, because sometimes if you have a high cost of capital and that capital clock is ticking, but you're not getting any income off of it, and you're waiting for the terminal event, which is it to come out of bankruptcy and be sold, you have to discount it so that you have a profit at the end of the day. Everybody clear on that? Yes, question over here, Ashlyn?
When you say discount deeply, what would you say the discount?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we have a model that we put up, that we use, but it's a function of the asset desirability, the location, and sometimes it's competitiveness. In a market where you have very low interest rates right now, some things are being bid up unreasonably high. You have the stupid money piling in because they don't know any better. They have the stupid money piling in because they're not doing the due diligence. They don't know it's in bankruptcy. So the bank, of course, is not going to go with the sophisticated money. It's going to go with the dumb money, who's going to say, oh, well, it's a $3,000 note. I can buy it for $2 million. That's great. Have a good day. No questions asked. It's not the bank or seller's responsibility to make disclosures. It never is. Are we clear on that? Yes? Question?
Bring the mic to Ralph.
Ralph Stanyard. Yes.
You're talking about the unpaid principal balance. Now, what about the appraisal or the BPO is larger? You go with you go with what's smaller?
This is all desktop stuff before we get into that. This is all desktop stuff.
All right.
If I really need to run comps, I'll go on reese.com to my account and log in and do as much desktop analysis as possible before we start pulling appraisals, which can be pricey. Usually the appraisals are done after a term sheet is executed, and we receive the legal deposit, the legal fees deposit from the borrower.
Okay, so you've done the desktop appraisal,
Okay?
and it's higher than the unpaid principal balance,
Then it's high. That's great.
right? So you'd still base your pricing on the unpaid principal balance, whichever is lower.
No, it's quoted as a percentage of the unpaid principal balance.
Yeah. Okay, not the appraisal or the desktop appraisal.
You're mixing. You value it off the appraisal. Okay. Are you clear with that? So let's say it's the same house. It's a $100,000 house with a $50,000 loan on it.
Yeah.
The appraisal came back at $100,000. That gives me maybe a reason to bid higher because there's more equity there. Is that what you're saying? Is it yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, then yes, of course, that's the case. But there is a risk here, and you cannot walk away from the risk, and that is that borrower, even though he's in default, he can file bankruptcy at any given time.
So that's why you would lower your bid.
To account
To
for
make
that
up
risk.
for that
To
risk.
account for that risk.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yes.
Does that make sense to everybody? Okay,
Does
good.
everyone understand the distinction that we just made between valuing off of appraisal in that scenario and valuing off the net operating income, the current net operating income? Does everyone understand this? You think, Sal?
Yeah, the biggest risk in this when you're buying notes is bankruptcy risk. That's the biggest risk, and you have to discount it appropriately. Bankruptcy is not something that you can take away. It's an inalienable, well, still is in this country, human right. It's a right as a citizen that you can file bankruptcy. Nobody can take that away from you. Question over here, yes.
Henry from Miami. Is there a particular formula for the amount of expenses going to be for the legals?
You know, Dave Gordon put up an Ask Andrew Silver, if you remember. He put together an Excel model that sort of just breaks it down really nicely. You should take a look at that.
Exactly. Now that's for bulk REO and non-performing notes, but it applies.
It applies.
It applies.
It'll give you a good, and then at that point, if you're bidding on something, then put it on Ask Andrew. I'll do some extra work for you. Is the location marketable? Moving over here. Reference to USA Today weather map. You could have a note that you can get at a great discount, but if it's in the middle of Iowa, do you really want it? Yes or no? No. Okay. I mean, I don't know. Maybe AJ would, but
Exactly.
different strokes for different folks. Okay. Is it really marketable?
But are you connected with people that like that product? That's really important. We make it incredibly clear exactly what we like and what we don't like, what's in our wheelhouse and what isn't.
Okay.
Okay?
Let's move on here.
All right.